Individuals who have enjoyed a career in the armed forces have a wealth of skills and experience that transfers seamlessly into the field of further education. With the right training and help from the Education and Training Foundation, this opportunity can be fully realised, creating high-quality teachers that are a real asset to further education. In this film, we'll explore the process and benefits that arise from retraining service personnel for a career in teaching. Kerry-Ann Ayres is the National Head of Technical Education for the Education and Training Foundation. Kerry-Ann, firstly, why is Further Forces so important right now?
Further Forces is important because there's a skills and human capital deficit in the UK, particularly in science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Now, the impact of these skill shortages is the major cause of the UK's productivity challenge, particularly in high priority industry sectors like engineering and manufacturing, health and social care, and construction. Increasing skills is going to be vital for the UK to realise its ambition of building back better post-Brexit and post-COVID-19. And we can see currently there's an increasing demand from learners for STEM and technical programmes. Ofsted is reporting this, FE providers are, and there's been an inquiry into equity in STEM education that also says this. Education and skills are closely correlated, and therefore there's a recognised need to ensure that there is excellent technical teaching and training in the FE sector. Now, to achieve this, we have to prioritise recruiting and retaining high-quality staff and providing them with the professional development that they need, ensuring strong links between teaching and industry. However, as you know, the FE sector experiences difficulties in recruiting and retaining high-quality technical teaching staff, particularly in SET and STEM. And this is where the ETF's Further Forces programme is important, because this programme recruits technical experts and supports them with the professional development that meets their needs as they transition into new careers in FE technical teaching.
Can you tell us who is actually behind the Further Forces initiative?
The programme is an Education and Training Foundation programme that is funded by the Department for Education, with the on-site subject specialist mentoring being funded by the Gatsby Charitable Foundation. The programme is further supported by the Ministry of Defence and the Careers Transition Partnership. ETF's delivery partners for this programme are the University of Portsmouth, who deliver the initial teacher education qualification, the University of Brighton, that provide the on-site subject specialist mentoring, and then the Association of Colleges that help broker the employment into FE technical teaching roles.
And how does Further Forces actually work?
Service leavers that are tri-service, Army, Navy, Air Force, up to 5 years post-discharge can register with the Further Forces programme. They're then supported to achieve either their Level 5 certificate in education or the Level 7 postgraduate certificate in education, and they're supported to secure employment in FE technical teaching roles. Now, prior to starting their ITE, they can also study 6 pre-ITE modules online to consider whether a career in FE technical teaching is actually for them. Trainees study their initial teacher education programme whilst in service, so they can earn while they learn, and the programme is delivered face-to-face, blended or online, and on a roll-on, roll-off basis so that it suits you as the FE provider who's employed the trainee and also the trainee themselves. They're allocated a mentor and an on-site subject specialist mentor. They become part of a professional community of practice supported by alumni too, and there is regular access to free of charge technical CPD and also access to conferences and networks.
So what is the process for getting a teaching job?
FE providers are invited to register with the Further Forces programme to advertise their technical teaching vacancies at no charge. The vacancies are uploaded to a pin map that is shared with our service leaver trainees so they can identify technical teaching vacancies within their locality. In addition to this, as a provider, you can receive fortnightly newsletters that share anonymised service leaver profiles so you can see who you may wish to invite to interview. And the further support that's provided is that the programme holds national teacher recruitment conferences and in addition works with the Careers Transition Partnership on employability fairs, also supporting FE provider employability fairs so that we really work with you to support your recruitment of technical experts to those hard to fill technical teaching roles.
Thanks, Kerrion. And now we're going to get some insight from Further Forces Ambassador Campbell Christie. Firstly, what's your experience of the different worlds of armed forces and further education?
Well, I trained as a teacher at university and then taught in a secondary school for about 3 years. It was the time of the Falklands and I wanted to join the Royal Navy, and I did for what I thought was going to be about 3 years. Then I was going to return into teaching. Well, 27 years later, I retired from the Navy at retirement age, and I became the principal and chief executive of Bracknell and Wokingham College. And when I was a principal, people often used to say to me, it must be very different what you're doing now from what you used to do. And my answer was always the same, and it was perfectly true. There were more similarities than there were differences between what I was doing as a principal, running a college, and what I'd been doing as Assistant Chief of Staff Training for the Navy, where I was responsible for the training and education resettlement of 35,000 sailors and Royal Marines. Both required strategic leadership, and both required the motivation of large workforces that were in many, many different sites. Both had really great learners. And, when I got fed up with dealing with management plans and finance and resources, all I had to do was go in and sit and join a lesson where there were learners that were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, being taught really well and really enjoying their learning. That was a great fun.
What do you think that veterans bring to further education?
Well, service leavers bring real-world technical expertise, but it combines with a package of experience in leadership and management. Most of them will have served on operations and they'll have learnt life at the sharp end. They'll know how they react under pressure and they'll know how other people react under pressure too. And that makes them really good at your college because they can support colleagues and indeed students when times get tough. And your students can really relate to them. They speak the students' language, they've got a fund of stories to make the teaching come alive, and that helps to make the learners' learning really effective. And your college will reap the benefit of world-class training in leadership and management. And that, combined with the experience they've had in leadership and management, makes them really good candidates for early promotion. You'll find that they can teach their subject really well, and combined with their can-do attitude, their self-discipline, their self-reliance, their superb way of working with other people, and that leadership and management potential is why they feature strongly in early promotion stakes at the college.
And how do veterans adjust to teaching in further education?
Well, veterans are really used to joining new organisations as service life means constant change. So they'll settle very quickly and very easily into your own college. In my own case, I don't think I was in any job for longer than about 2.5 years. And in my 27-year career in the Navy, I had 15 or perhaps it was 16 different jobs. Mostly, admittedly, they were in training, but there were some real one-offs, such as being head of Royal Marines Logistics for 18 months. You'll find service leavers can adapt quickly and successfully, and especially if they've got a buddy-buddy system to support them, somebody to show them how to do things and show them the ropes. So they'll have many skills that are directly transferable into your own college, and the more obvious ones are fairly obviously to do with the technical expertise. But perhaps some are less obvious and might only emerge once they're truly into the life of the college. And these are probably going to be related to their positive attitude, their sense of humour, and particularly to their leadership and management expertise.
And what kind of support do they need along the way?
Well, Civvy Street can seem a bit strange to the service leaver. Whilst they're settling into your college, they're probably trying to find a new home or get their kids into a school, get onto the waiting list for doctors or for dentists. And showing them that you understand the problems that they're going through will help them realise that you're a really good employer. And so I'd suggest you read the Armed Forces Covenant to get a better understanding of those issues. And whilst all that's happening, of course, and whilst they're getting used to and getting to know the college and their colleagues and, of course, their students, they'll also be coming to terms with new ways of working and with a completely new language, the lexicon of further education. So terms like schemes of work and lesson plans and ESFAs and acronyms up the yin-yang, they'll all do it. They'll do it quickly. They'll just need a little bit of support and time to do that. And so what I would recommend is a buddy, perhaps in the same department, that they can ask the daft question to, somebody that isn't their boss, somebody slightly to the side. And that's why some colleges have chosen to have a mentor, somebody that isn't in the department, perhaps even not in the college. But if you put that support in, you've got a fantastic person delivering a really important shortage subject and with the potential to become a really great leader and manager in the college too. So a double whammy, what's not to like?
Excellent advice from Campbell. Now let's talk to Stephen Corbett, who is the head of school at the University of Portsmouth. Stephen, what qualifications do trainees get and what attributes do they bring?
Upon successful completion of the Further Forces programme, trainees will either possess a Certificate in Education, Cert-Ed, or a PGCE in Further Education and Training. In addition, trainees bring subject specialist knowledge and experience from their career in the military service. They possess skills ranging from communication and effective teamwork through to leadership. And furthermore, they have many noteworthy attributes such as flexibility, ability to work under pressure, and resilience. And this makes service leavers a real valuable addition to the FE workforce.
And what subjects are included in the training?
The Further Forces programme trains teachers in a wide variety of subject areas to provide FE teachers for technical education. Subjects span from science, engineering and construction through to finance and logistics. Overall, the programme seeks to support the FE sector by providing technical teachers for those hard to recruit vacancies.
In practice, how does the training actually work?
When the Further Forces programme was launched in 2016, we developed a bespoke blended learning initial teacher training programme. This meant that we could provide learning and support to service leavers on a national level. Trainees access our virtual learning environment and work through interactive learning materials. They also benefit from group and individual tutorials that are scheduled at times to make sure that they do not conflict with their commitments outside of the course. This provides a flexible and supportive approach to learning, which has been valued by both our trainees and the FE providers that employ them.
For those in further education wanting to benefit from Further Forces, what is the process to take on a trainee or graduate?
We have a database of all our trainee teachers with anonymised profiles. Each of our trainees are featured on a pin map which shows the location of all trainees who are seeking employment. An FE provider can contact us to access the pin map and see who is available in their local area. If they identify someone, they can request to see the anonymised profile. And upon viewing it, if they'd like to speak to the trainee, we can facilitate an exchange of contact details. In addition, providers can send us their placement opportunities and job vacancies, which we can promote in our newsletter, which is regularly sent out to trainee teachers. If FE providers would like to know more about this, then they can contact us via email and we can set up an opportunity to have a conversation and talk them through the processes and opportunities for helping them to recruit those hard to fill vacancies.
Many thanks, Stephen. And now let's talk to someone who's actually been engaged in the Further Forces training programme. Kevin Lloyd, what's been your pathway?
So I joined the Army in 1996 as an electrician in the Royal Engineers, and throughout my career I've done various teaching roles. So my first initial post was in 2007 as a junior NCO instructor. That was developing and teaching combat engineering to new recruits. Further to that, I moved into teaching bomb disposal in 2012, 2013. right? As I was moving on throughout my career, I've done various training posts. Key things that I would like to bring out here is that the Army have exactly the same processes as what they do in the FE. They're just they may be called something different. So, for example, Ofsted, Army training establishments are subject to Ofsted inspection, but the Army have got their own inspectorate, right, that come round and check to make sure they're delivering training to the correct standards and the correct course specifications, right? That led me into moving into FE, because I like to look at what I've done in my career and then utilise that knowledge to further my second career. And as they're very similar, moving into FE is really, really good for me, and I'm very excited about the future.
How have you found the transition from Army to working in the further education environment?
For me, the transition has been quite easy. I have had a lot of support from my chain of command, and they've allowed me to get various experiences in different colleges. Right, I currently work one day in one college, and I've just recently got another job in a second college, so that I'm getting experience across 2 different settings. Right, one thing that is key and sort of similar between everything that I've worked in, so both colleges and the Army, is there's a hierarchical structure. Right, they've got head of departments, we've got head of troops, they've got various different lead teachers, we've got various different lead ranks depending on where you are. So for me, the movement into FE college as a permanent teacher gives me a comforting feel that I understand the structure and I've followed that sort of structure for 25 years.
What do you think you offer as a teacher?
So, as previously mentioned, I am an electrician and I'm as qualified as any civilian electrician. Right, difference being I have applied mathematics, right, the subject that I teach, in various different situations whilst being in the military. Right, this is very key to the way I develop and teach. Right, and it's the way a lot of the military will teach. They've got that background, that experience of their trades, their skills, their knowledge, whatever you want to call it. Right, and they can utilise that in the FE classroom, and they can develop those young minds to achieve the best outcome for themselves.
With the experience under your belt, what are your plans for your further education career?
Right, so firstly, I've got to get a job. Once I've got a job, then I will go into the teaching side of things and then develop my teaching practice on top of what I've already been taught with on the course, which is quite interesting, and I'm quite looking forward to doing that. Right, medium term, I would look into getting into the management side of education, and then just follow a career pathway through FE that has been as fulfilling and rewarding as what my Army career has been. And who knows, I might be the principal of a FE college in the future.
Thanks, Kevin, and good luck with your further education career. And finally, let's talk to Lynn Taylorson, who is a Further Forces mentor. Lynn, what do you think veterans can bring to further education teaching?
Veterans bring a wealth of real-world specialist knowledge to the teaching role, which can be so beneficial for vocational students. Their time in the forces will also have allowed them to develop the kind of invaluable practical wisdom and know-how which only comes through experience. Experiences of working in pressurised situations to tight deadlines means they have other valuable skills such as effective communication, organisation and time management. They're well placed to enable learners to develop these sought-after transferable skills, which are also essential for work in the vocational team and when collaborating with employers or members of the community. Veterans have worked across a wide variety of scenarios while in the forces, putting them in an excellent position to make productive connections with students, to be able to support and motivate them. They may also already have acted as a trainer, coach or mentor.
What kind of support do further education providers need to offer veteran recruits?
It's important that providers are able to offer a smooth induction process and provide ongoing support for veteran trainee teachers. This will include ensuring that trainees understand the management structure of the organisation, have a clear idea what their teaching role will entail, and are informed about the sources of help and support that they can draw on. This can involve signposting trainees towards the Education and Training Foundation CPD opportunities, the benefits of membership of the Society for Education and Training, but also highlighting opportunities to join specialist industry and more informal networks and communities of practice. Trainees need to be familiar with the curriculum that they'll be facilitating in terms of content, assessment and quality processes, and the key pedagogies, learning strategies and resources that are valuable in their specialist area. A focus on active learning and the making of clear links between learning and the workplace are important aspects of this process. It's also important to signpost trainees towards key sources of support that are available for their learners, both in terms of academic development and progression and regarding learner safeguarding and well-being.
And what specifically is your role as a subject specialist mentor to the trainees?
Every Further Forces trainee is offered the opportunity to work with a specialist mentor who's independent of their employer and the university. The mentor will have a background in the trainee's specialist vocational area. So, for example, I'm a mentor for IT, digital and business trainee teachers. The mentor provides specialist support, including signposting to learning resources, CPD opportunities and literature, and can also act as a valuable sounding board for the trainee's session planning and learning strategies. Mentors use the on-side mentoring model, which places a focus on a supportive partnership, removed from management or supervision, and using non-judgmental dialogues. The mentoring support provided is individualised to each trainee and aims to empower them to grow as a teacher and become more independent in their practice. And of course, as a mentor, I get a great deal from the partnership too. I'm always learning from and with the trainee teachers that I work with.
Lastly, Lynn, how has your own professional development been informed by working with other mentors?
I found it invaluable to work with mentors in both formally organised scenarios and in informal peer mentoring relationships as an educator. My mentors have acted as supportive, critical friends, able to assist me in critically evaluating my practice and enabling me to identify and follow through on opportunities for development. Supportive dialogues with an independent voice outside the organisation's hierarchy allows open discussion of the challenges that teachers can face. Mentors that I've been in partnership with have signposted me towards networking opportunities and relevant CPD. They've also acted as a sounding board, allowing me to discuss and develop aspects of my practice, such as curriculum planning and introducing innovations in learning strategies and resources. I'd absolutely recommend that all teachers, whether new or experienced, take advantage of the valuable opportunity to work in partnership with a mentor.
Thanks, Lynn. And that concludes our film. Hopefully the insight from our experts has helped you understand the role of Further Forces and the benefits that ex-Armed Forces personnel can bring to further education with their skill set, experience and drive.